Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. Really big Jesse Quick Season 3 news and a really big mind trip story about Jay Garrick pre-Season 1 in The Flash. So I'm going to start with the history stuff, then I'll talk about Jesse Quick. There was another Heroes and Villains fan fest over the weekend, so the cast of Arrow, Flash, the CW shows were there, and we learned a couple really cool behind-the-scenes facts, as well as some stuff that's happening on the set, especially of The Flash. So just to start with the Flash backstory stuff, really cool stuff from before they were making the pilot. Rick Kisnet, who was Eddie Thawne, was there. He did a panel, and he explained that when he was auditioning for his role, it actually said Jay Garrick. Like, he was originally supposed to be Jay Garrick on the TV show, but before the pilot phase, he became Eddie Thawne. They tied him to the Eobard Thawne character, and the rest is history. So, he wasn't going to be Jay Garrick after he became Eddie Thawne. But I just think it's funny when you remember what happened during Season 2, how that all played out. Obviously, they brought in Teddy Sears. They did the Hunter Solomon Zoom arc. I don't know if they were originally intending for, what ended up happening with those big arcs when they were making the pilot. I think they had a vague idea. They knew they'd work Jay Garrick in some way, but I don't know that they necessarily had already worked out the big Zoom twist. Those types of things usually don't get decided till the break after each season finishes, when they start pitching ideas for the next season. So on top of that, Caitlin Snow was originally supposed to be an older character, a love interest for Harrison Wells. They were still going to do the big Harrison Wells Eobard Thawne twist, but originally the Caitlin Snow character was going to be more of a Tina McGee, slightly older, have more parity with Harrison Wells. They were still going to do the dead lover a la Firestorm, like Ronnie Raymond had been killed. She thought he was dead for most of Season 1, but instead of Firestorm, he was originally going to be the Mist, the Kyle Nimbus character that they ended up using, I think it was Episode 3, and Harley Rathaway, the Pied Piper character, was going to be on Team Flash, but it doesn't specify if it was going to be Pied Piper instead of Cisco or in addition to Cisco. So you can see how a lot of times things will change during the pilot phase when they're writing that pilot script. All that changed when they shot it. When they shot the pilot, they shot it with Cisco, with the Firestorm twist, with Rick Kisnet being Eddie Thawne, secretly the ancestor of Eobard Thawne, and then I think at that point, they had decided to work in a John Wesley Ship Jay Garrick twist, but it might not have been completely explicit. They might have been okay, we know we want to do John Wesley Ship Jay Garrick, we just don't know exactly how we're going to do it. We're going to wait till Season 2 to figure it out. You have to remember that this was all before Season 1 happened, before they ever shot that first episode. So in retrospect, I'm actually pretty happy with the way things went down. They could still totally bring Eddie back as a twist on a new speedster like Cobalt Blue or something. They always mix and match things from the comics with the characters on the TV show. So I think they found that nice balance where they can do just as many crazy things as they can think of and rope it into Flash continuity, just because the Flash comics have been so crazy. They're very accommodating in that way. Speaking of which, we have the big Rogues versus Rogues war that's going to be happening this season. That's just an example of how many awesome characters they have. There's so many obscure characters that they could pull out and do awesome versions of on the TV show that I was kind of joking the other day that I would like to see them reform the TV Suicide Squad with defeated Flash Rogue. Have a version of the Suicide Squad that's Deathstroke, Killer Frost, Peekaboo, maybe Huntress. Stephen Amell, who was also at this big convention, was also saying if he had his pick of the litter in terms of new characters to bring on to Team Arrow, he was Deathstroke and Huntress. I would love for them to be on Team Arrow, but no idea if they're ever going to get to do that, just because they had that big Ben Affleck Deathstroke teaser this morning, so it seems like he's going to be a big movie character. So with Manu Bennett being a series regular on another TV series, his schedule probably isn't going to work out too good. The movie stuff doesn't help, so I'm not expecting Deathstroke to come back anytime soon. But the other really big thing, so this is actually maybe even bigger deal, but I think we were all expecting it to happen. There were people on the set of The Flash the other week. They said they saw Jesse Quick in her comic book costume, but obviously because there's no special effects, there was no context, we have no idea whether or not she will actually have Speed Force powers, only that she will be wearing a very comic booky Liberty Bell Jesse Quick type costume. So because they're still filming the first block of episodes, that means that we'll see Jesse Quick in that crazy comic book costume in the first 5 or 6 episodes. They might not even be filming episode 6. It might be by episode 4, so we won't have to wait that long to see some really awesome Jesse Quick deep cuts from the comics. But for those of you asking, I know I've talked about Killer Frost a little bit. I've been meaning to do a Killer Frost video. We will totally see her come back in some way this season. You know, some comic booky twist on it. The Earth 2 version of her was dead, but because Flashpoint, it's all up in the air, so she could come from Earth 1, she could come from Earth 2, but Danielle Panabaker's Caitlin, like our Earth 1 Caitlin Snow, is still on Team Flash. You might have missed her, but in that very first trailer they posted at Comic-Con, she's here in the background treating Wally while he's on the gurney with the rest of them standing around. So whatever is happening with Team Flash in Season 3, Caitlin Snow starts on the team. But they haven't said much about how her personality is going to change, so I'm actually really curious to see if she's more like Season 1 Caitlin, where she's a little bit colder, or if she's a little jokier, just remains to be seen. But yes, Killer Frost will totally be back. So let me know in the comments, when do you think that we will actually see Jesse Quick in a comic book costume, not Speed Force, but I'll say comic book costume, because a lot of times they'll just have outfits that are teasing comic book costumes, like Wally's car was painted to look like a Flash costume, so that might be how we get reintroduced to Jesse Quick, like she just wears very comic booky costumes, then we actually see her get Speed Force powers. But usually when they do introduce a new speedster, even if it's a twist on a speedster, like Eobard Thawne had the big Harrison Wells twist, they're still relatively true to their comic book origin story. So get hype. I know there's a couple trailers we haven't got yet. We haven't got our Supergirl Season 2 Superman trailer yet. We're due for another Flash and Arrow trailer in another week or two. There's going to be a whole bunch of trailers dropping in October for the movies too. And there's a rumor that we will get like the first big Justice League trailer this Christmas. So Merry Christmas to everyone, even if you don't celebrate it. But got a whole bunch more comic book stuff happening this week. Lots more Marvel, DC. If you guys have any other requests for bonus videos, just let me know in the comments below. But just a reminder, I started a new round of the giveaway in that Justice League teaser this morning. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. It's just a $20 Amazon gift card. So get hyped for Flash Season 3. I'm so excited. I cannot wait for all this stuff to come back. While you guys wait for my next video to post, you can click here for that Batman Deathstroke teaser from this morning, and you can click here for my Thor Ragnarok funny trailer. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody, let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.